look, week 0 for everybody. Week 0 for everybody in college football, including this team. Everybody's trying to get their momentum and their rhythm going, including us. Field of 12.
Come on.
We'll still finish undefeated, but we're working through a couple things special teams wise in this first quarter. Darian, let's go back, Darien, real quick, just to underline a couple of things regarding Nebraska's future, because it's a real situation. We ain't throwing dirt on a coffin, but we are looking ahead. You gave some elements, I would say, about things you're looking for as the AD at such a proud program,
right?
And a player that just came from a championship program in the head coaching role. What are they?
Yeah, when you're trying to rebuild, you need someone who's confident. So you need someone that the players can believe in themselves. So you have to go get a big name from a big time place, whether in the league that's doing well, like an assistant coach or position coach, or from another school that may not be Nebraska level resource wise, but who has been killing it.
Established guy.
Exactly. Very established, but may not be at a school where you can, like we talked about earlier in the show, I think money does talk. At a school in Nebraska, you have immense resources. You are a football school. And so you can probably get somebody at another school who wants to be all about football. You want that to be the mantra of the university. And so I think you got a couple options out there as you look across the country of people you could pick from that I think will be up for the challenge. And that's the thing is, like, if you can you look at coaching pedigree, whoever can turn Nebraska around, the respect will be immense across college football, because that's a program. Yeah, talk to me.
Well, to that point with the respect level, I'm gonna give you 4 names out of the gate.
Okay.
And from my perspective, you as the AD, I'm advising you go make these guys say no first, and then get on with the rest of the search. 1 NFL. 2 head coaches in college, and 1 who's on a temporary sabbatical.
Okay.
The NFL coach, I would send you down to the Houston Texans offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton.
Okay.
All kinds of verifieds and bona fides in football. Stanford, Michigan, Chicago Bears. Now he's down at the Houston Texans, and they're running a strong, formidable offense, even though everything else in your organization is coming around. Young energy, has the NFL system. He's going to bring that into your players to a T, but he's got the energy to meet them where they are. So Pep Hamilton would be 1. And then there's 2 warlords in college football. Quiet.
I'm interested to hear these 2. Talk to me.
So here they go. And they're at light heavyweight programs. One of them did the unthinkable last year and got a group of 5 team in the playoffs, and they went head up against Alabama. Luke Fickell. Yeah. Luke Fickell. Now, he's been mentioned at Penn State if Coach Franklin ever decides to go up to the NFL. He's been mentioned at Ohio State for Ryan Day. He's mentioned every single place. If I'm Nebraska and I couldn't pull Pep Hamilton out of the NFL, make Luke Fickell say no. There's Luke Fickell. Here's the other one. I'm going to go down to Jurassic Park. in the SEC, and I'm going to advise you, go get Mark Stoops.
I like that.
But Darian, Kentucky football, when you were in high school, was a lot of teams' homecoming game.
Right.
Now all of a sudden,
they have turned the tables a lot.
Turn the tables. You got monsters crossing the street with Kentucky.
Right. Yeah.
Kentucky is now a 12-round deal now. Kentucky's a 12-round deal.
No sleeper.
Put extra tape on the hands to go in there. You got to do a couple extra Ds to go in there now to deal with them. We used to look at these guys as hoopers and cleats.
Exactly.
Now, like the blue men are coming after you. Now, I would go get Mark Stoops out of the Jurassic Park and say, listen, bring that up here to Lincoln. Yeah. The 33rd NFL city, not necessarily team, but city. Bring that up here. Here's the last one. You and I were rapping about this earlier. Right now, this other guy is on Fox, and he's on air. And I'm not talking about that coach. I'm talking about Chris Peterson.
Yeah, we can't go that way.
Well, we don't. No. Yeah. We're not going to go that way. Turn this thing.
Yeah.
We're going to go this way. to the classy, presidential, wildly successful on offense and development, Chris Peterson. Boise State, they were giant killers. At Washington, these guys were in one of the, I think, year 1 or year 2 in the playoffs. Now they got mud stomped by Alabama. They just didn't have the horses. But Chris Peterson, right now, doing some TV on his boat, still watching film. I go over there and I say, Coach, I know you're ready to get back in this thing. And how about getting on this thing with a program that's ready and rocked and loaded for you? So our thoughts on Nebraska. And just lastly on Nebraska, incredible job. October 1st is the buyout. That's right. October 1st is Scott Frost's buyout. It drops down. In layman's terms, it makes it easy for Nebraska to let go of him based on the numbers. Incredible job still by Casey Thompson, the transfer. Yeah. He's only been on campus, what, a handful of months?
Right.
Handful of months to go in, establish trust, credibility amongst that locker room. They went out, battled their ass off.
They did. And it's momentum. As much as it's the way, you know, as like obviously the media, we have a job to do based off what we see. But at the same time, inside the locker room, the way, to me, if I was a leader on that team or a coach on the team, I would spin it. It's not the outcome we wanted, but there are a lot of positives to build off of. And so that's the way they have to take it, especially offensively. Like we talked about earlier, the people who missed that, is that they had a good day offensively compared to what they were putting up last year.
Could we just do a toast to Mark Whipple? Could you get your Fiji water up? And this toast is brought to you by Fiji Water and Terramana. Hello, Rock. Hello, Dwayne Johnson. But to Mark Whipple, coming in 355 yards. You already said it. That's 90 plus yards more than what they did last year on average. Yeah. And you got a brand new transfer quarterback in here who is rocking and rolling. Offensively, they look pretty formidable, at least for today. Okay, national championship discussion. That's where we are. We're going through our top 4 teams to make it in the playoffs. Go ahead, Darien. Give me your 4.
Yeah, we're early. We're early, I think we're early, but like you said, if I'm putting money on somebody, I'm going with the proven. And then we'll get to that. It's like, all right, proven, you have to put Alabama in a conversation every year.
The Roman Army.
They've earned that respect from every college football person in the country. Coach Saban has been consistent year in and year out, and they're in the hunt every year. They got the talent. They got Bryce Young coming back, Heisman Trophy winner. You got Will Anderson. You look at the defense, offense. They got weapons. They just reload every year. They're going to figure out a way how to get it done.
So, Darien, we call Alabama on this family of networks is referred to as the Roman Army. That's the Roman Army. Okay, Roman Army. So we got them down. Who's number 2?
Number 2, I'm going Ohio State. I think they take the Big Ten this year, and based off the way the playoffs is set up now, if they win out, if they win their conference, they get in. So I got Ohio State. I like what they got coming back. I like the momentum come off the last bowl game where they went crazy. The chemistry on the offensive side, I think it's going to be great. I think CJ Stroud, to me, if he can replicate what we did last year, should be a front runner for the Heisman this year. So I like that dynamic of Ohio State. I like Ryan Day, kind of them getting back into the fight of being in the top 4. And I think they take Michigan this year. I feel like that last game, Michigan took it last year, but I see Ohio State kind of making that step again this year and taking Michigan. They win a conference. So that's my first 2.
That'll be the highest rated game of the season. Okay, 3 and 4. Now I'm curious. Look, 3 and 4. I'm curious, Clemson Tiger. I'm curious.
I try not to be biased, but at the same time, people get amnesia really, really quick around here in college football. We at Clemson, or I'm not going to say we anymore, but still, it's always going to be we. Clemson had a down year. A lot of teams we've discussed up to this point would pay anybody in this country to go have a down year.
For 10 wins.
For 10 wins. For the 11th year in a row. And so I'm going with another program who I've –
Wait. Clemson has won 10 games, 11 straight years?
11 years in a row. Only 3 schools in college football history to do it are Florida State, back in the Bowden era, Florida State, and then the Saban era right now, and then Clemson. Only three
Wow.
programs in the history of college football to have that many 10+ win seasons in a row. I
See
think
what you
Bowden.
get with the field of 12. Hold on a second. Rookie of the year. See what you get now rolling with us, field of 12. That's a gem for you to take back.
Right.
To
now
the,
you know something. Now you know something.
Yeah, now you know. So go back. Tell your girls on the next girls' night out, girl, Darien Rencher over there on field of 12 told me a little something. Tell your coworkers, tell whomever. There's only been 3 teams in college football that have maintained this type of longevity. Okay, Darian, so you got Clemson. Who's the fourth?
Clemson. My fourth team. Here's who I like. All right, this is a one. Maybe I'm biased here too, but I like them coming up. And people get amnesia. Oklahoma, up until the past year or so, was always in that 4, and they would get waxed in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They would always get, but I see them coming out of the Big 12 before they make that transition to the SEC next year. I think Coach Venables, obviously, very fond of him being in his days at Clemson, but I think the momentum they have in that program, another program with so much pride. I think if they can run the tables in the Big 12, and I think they can make it in the top 4. And they'll have the resume, they'll have the conference win. And so, like I said, it'll be interesting. But they have to go undefeated for them to make it, because every year the Bama Georgia thing is going to be interesting every year. So I think Oklahoma can win out, they get in. Who you got?
Interesting. You're 3 and 4. Had some Clemson ties to it, but that also gives you good perspective to know who these people are. And that's formidable. So you went Oklahoma, Alabama, the Roman Army, Clemson, and Ohio State. Interesting.
Tell me who you got is different.
Interesting. Nowhere near correct. But incredibly interesting.
We're going to see.
All right. So hop in. Here we go. Ohio State.
All right.
The 1927 Yankees of college football right now. We established here on the field of 12 a couple nights ago that if Ohio State took on the all-star team of the Big 12, if they took on the Big 12's first team, Ohio State comes off the field a winner and not stressing it. Okay, so Buckeyes will be there. That's one. The Roman Army, 2. Alabama, enough said. Roman Army. 3.
Who?
The Baylor Bears.
Oh, hell no.
Tune in, sir. Tune in. Now, I'm going to give you a couple things now. Tune in. Baylor, if they didn't mess around at home last year against TCU.
Right. We got a point.
And then they turned around and then they beat Oklahoma. They're in the playoffs. They only got better. Their quarterback was a first-year starter last year. Yeah. He only got better, right? Dave Aranda has now had his arms around that program. It's nearing, 18 months. And Yogi Roth told us, that's what Chris Peterson said, to get your culture where you really want it, for your culture to truly take hold in a college football program, it takes 18 months. Aranda is nearing that point. I believe in Dave Aranda and Baylor, plus the schedule works out beautifully for Baylor Darien. Go back and check that schedule.
That schedule does look good. It does look good.
And I'm gonna jog you through it. Ohio State, the Roman Army, the Baylor Bears, and for the first time, probably since you were in middle school, a team from the West Coast is coming into the dance. That biker gang from Salt Lake City, the Utah Utes, and I don't even feel good waving the flag.
I didn't even know you. I thought you was about to make an even bigger take on the show. I thought you was going to
USC.
LA. I thought you was going to LA with it.
No. Who? Listen.
I'm hopping in here. Now listen. You told me. I said earlier today. So you're switching it up on
me. For production purposes and as spontaneity, things have been made. And look, we don't go live until we're live. We're live right now. And the verdict, after everything has been concluded and deduced, yes, I like the White Walkers. Darien, you watch Game of Thrones, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Georgia Bulldogs are the White Walkers. Only dead men would see them in the battlefield. That's it, right? But not Georgia. Not Georgia. I think
I'm gonna let you know something right now. If Clemson went out, you can kiss Utah Jazz. That's a Utah Jazz. I'm almost call Utah Jazz on this show. You can kiss the Utah. I forgot their mascot. The Utes. Is it the Utes?
Utes. Yeah.
The Utes.
A proud Native American tribe.
They won't be getting in. So maybe when they expand the playoffs, they'll have a chance. But that's a sad part. That is one of the pitfalls to this playoff system.
Sure.
Is the
good teams get left out.
Good teams.
But let me ask you this.
Good teams with no clout.
Good. Yeah. But let me ask you this. You know what the problem for Clemson's going to be?
Yeah.
You don't have stability at the position you need it most. I'm cheering for him. I'm pushing for him. But coming off of last year, it was the Lion who really didn't have his fangs and his claws.
Right.
And you're leading from the front. I wouldn't even be surprised if the youngster Cade Klubnik from Austin, Texas, doesn't find himself out there on the field at some point. To me, Clemson's a year away. I know everybody loves him. Defense is unreal, but too bad the defense can't play all night. They don't get to play all night. They get to play, 40% of the game. That's it. Yeah. Utah, Cam Rising, former Longhorn, came over to Utah. Got those guys going last year. You saw what it was. They trading blows at Ohio State, extra innings.
Yeah.
And then the whole crew, the whole culture is a biker gang. Utah, Darien is a biker gang. When they roll up on your town, bring the little ones inside, get your little valuables inside, close your doors.
So it's like that. It's like that.
It's like they're brutal. They're brutal. You don't want to see these folks coming in here unless you're the Roman army or unless you live in Columbus. You probably welcome them.
We're gonna see.
Even in Waco, Texas.
I guess it's good for us to agree on 50%. I feel like that only makes it fair for the show. I had no idea. I'm gonna tell you, the teams you named were not anywhere in my recollection to even consider.
Well,
but
good.
I'm glad.
Well,
that's what good opinions are for.
And look, happy to educate you. Happy to educate you, young brother. We're going to be on here all season.
Yeah.
And I hope you got a pen and a pad taking these notes, because just like the audience, we want you to get off, run and go tell your crew. And Field of 12, I done picked up some things. All right, let's jump.
Some gems. Come on, let's do it.
Some gems. Give me some other gems now. Give me your dark horse for the national championship. Do you have one?
A dark horse?
Yeah.
I feel like you can, if it's out of my top four. Georgia's not a dark horse. Georgia's kind of will be like 4B.
Agreed.
Right.
Somebody kind of out of the top 10. Yeah. Is there anybody long shot? Field of 12 gave you an easy grand. Go to Vegas, throw a grand on somebody outside the top 10. You prone to do what?
All right. I'm gonna give you crazy in your take is. And this is a real thing. I think a lot of college football, especially with the modern playoff model, is some things got to happen for this to kind of work out this way. But people would love to see USC in the playoffs. University of Southern Cal.
I agree.
And I say that because if you think about just ratings wise, you think about how they're restructuring all these contracts, TV wise, it really sets up for if they can get it together. You got Jordan Addison, former Biletnikoff winner. I think Caleb Williams is one of my contenders for the Heisman based off he can transfer what he did at Oklahoma the last couple of games and take that over to USC with the weapons that Lincoln's put around him. I mean, if some teams, like I said, other teams like in those marquee conferences have to lose for them to kind of creep into that top four. But if they can win out and win definitively in a lot of ways in that conference, I think a lot of people would love to see them in the mix.
I cannot disparage what you just gave us. USC, all those free agents that are in there
who's
now.
Yours? Who's yours? It better not be Clemson because we ain't no dark horse. Don't put us in no dark horse category. give me somebody else.
I got this little engine that could from the state of South Carolina. They wear orange and purple. Little engine that could. I think if they no, I'm just kidding. It's a Big Ten team. Long shot. It's a Big Ten team. They were number 3 last year in week 6 of the season. until they lost their starting quarterback at halftime on the road at Iowa, Sean Clifford, and Penn State. Penn State and Clifford. Clifford will be in his 5th year starting. I think only UCLA and Dorian Robinson will be a 5th year. You cannot buy that type of experience. They've seen it all. And the respect. These programs are now retrofit around these two. Yeah. So from a dark horse perspective, Penn State has reloaded. They always recruit well. They always rise up and battle Ohio State. They beat Ohio State more in the Big Ten than any other team in the last 10 years. They trade blows with monsters because they are a monster. Schedule is going to be tricky because it is always in the back half. But I see out of that schedule, if you can beat the state of Michigan, both teams, and you get Ohio State and you take care of whoever going to pop their head out from the western side, it only projects you on up there. To me, that's a dark horse. Okay.
I don't
Heisman.
Like that.
Heisman. Every running back, and this feels natural. You were an incredible running back in the ACC, so I would imagine a bulk of your thoughts walking that campus, the Heisman had to have some spot in there, and just like all your other skilled teammates. So I'm curious to get your thoughts, especially as a tailback, running back, super back. Who you see? Give me 3 names that you like out of college football right now. Again, we take you to Vegas on field of 12, plunk down $1,000. Where would you put your money on the Heisman, your Heisman favorites?
We're talking running backs, or you giving me free reign?
No, anybody? As a running back, I'm just saying the perspective. Usually it's quarterbacks on it.
Yeah, I think quarterbacks will forever be in the mix. That's because of the way the game is played. I will give you
Pick any position.
I will. I'm gonna give you 2. Just the fact you said running backs, 2 guys who have really good cases to emerge and have 2 really good campaigns. So I'm gonna give you my quarterback. Mm-hmm. I like Bijan Robinson is freakish, and I've been around. I played behind Travis Etienne for a number of years. I think he was a freakish type running back. There's a lot of guys you see that can make plays. Then it's like guys you see who's like, you don't know how he made that play. Like, it's like, I don't know how he just did that. Like, it's like, that is unworldly. Bijan has that effect when you see him play. Like some of the runs he's had this past year, even on the stats aren't like crazy. Like 1,200 yards is like, it's good. But you know what I'm saying? That's nothing like jump off the page like for Heisman. But it's the way he plays to me that makes him that special and marquee. He has one of the biggest brands. He's like the king of NIL. So I think his brand, and Texas got to win some games for him to really be in that conversation, just because I think a lot of times people don't watch their games anymore. So if Texas can kind of pick it up this year and get him at least to be in the top 25, I think he has a good case. All right, dark horse.
That's one. You gave me one. Okay,
right,
okay.
I'm gonna give you another back. You may have never heard this kid, and you need to look him up now. But he should be up for the Heisman statistically wise, but may not win it because of the school he's at. Sean Tucker at Syracuse is putting up crazy stats. Look him up. The running back, Sean Tucker, has went crazy. You would think that by Bijan Robinson's hype, he would have Sean Tucker stats. Say that. Sean Tucker's stats are insane.
So look, let's go ahead and give him a toast right now, because he has. Can you go below 0 of a shot? Let's just go ahead and give him. Let's give him a toast where he has no shot, but we're gonna give him a toast, a clean toast. That Fiji.
Come on, the Fiji.
All respect to Sean Tucker, his family, the barbecue, Syracuse, go Orange, etc. No shot. Okay, go for your 3rd one.
All right,
and I say that all because. One, I feel like you got to be on Broadway. You got to have some type of national presence, and your team has to be somewhere in the remote orbit. Okay,
I agree.
But I respect you.
You'll see him in those top 7. You know, when they come out, he'll be in there because you have to respect what he's doing as an all-purpose. Like he put up 1,500 yards last year. And it's quiet, a quiet 1,500, which is crazy. It's not like national news, but he's doing great things.
And I respect you for bringing him to us. Really, truly, because I never even heard of Sean Tucker. Now I got to go back and watch this highlight tape tonight because you gave him to me. Who's your?
So who do I think? This is who I really think is going to win it. This is who I really think. All right, I like C.J. Stroud, but once again, you look at not Cinderella stories. You look at storylines of college football. If Caleb Williams can get it done at USC, I think he's up for it. I think just the way you look at college football attach for the Heisman attach their name back to Southern California would be good. And I think that they're setting up. He's got a lot of weapons. I feel like Lincoln Riley's had Heisman winners come through the program, and so he knows how to. I don't say pad stats, but he knows what it takes to get somebody to that stage. Like he's seen it, he's done it. He had Kyler, Baker. Like he's seen it and done it, and so I think he understands what type of season it takes to get to that level. And I think they're going to build that entire system, obviously, around Caleb Williams to make him the guy, the same way he was at Oklahoma before he transferred. So I think that's what I think really wins it.
I respect that, because if I didn't have my guy through my process of this, I also would go with Caleb. He's got a lot of national TV games, first of all. Yeah. It's USC. So anytime anybody at USC is starting to cook, everybody goes like this. Right. That's a kitchen we watch. If he gets in there and starts cooking, we're watching. The wins are also going to matter. Okay. You gave us Sean Tucker. I see your Sean Tucker, the kind of out of nowhere call, and I take kind of out of there because that was nowhere call. But we got educated. I'm going to give you a linebacker to start the Heisman discussion.
Okay.
West Coast.
West Coast.
Oregon.
Are you going to Oregon?
Noah Sewell.
He's a beast.
Now, boys and girls at home, pull him on up. Look at his highlights. Noah Sewell, first team All-American, really first team all anybody on the planet that's not in the NFL. He's going to do it all kinds of ways. And now he gets a head coach who was the defensive coordinator for the White Walkers. The best linebacker in football last year, not in the NFL, was named Nakobe Dean. Yeah. He was the quarterback for that defense that no one could come across the line of scrimmage on. You don't think Dan Lanning has been squeezing all that curriculum, experience, detail, intricacies into his new prodigy, who's already a monster? Okay, Noah Sewell on his way to New York. Now, the other two will be sitting next to each other, and they'll be looking at each other like this. Damn. Yeah, I know you did the thing, but damn, I did too, but neither one of us got it. Caleb Williams and Bryce Young. Bryce Young is going to have a better season this year, but I think voters will give him that winner's bias. We can't vote for you again because we voted for you last year.
Yeah, that's how I put C.J. Stroud there over him. Honest, Sean Tucker was kind of like my whatever. C.J. Stroud is going to be in the mix, like you said. I don't think the winner's bias is a real thing. I put C.J. Stroud in the mix too. I feel we have to. We have to.
You should. And I'm going to tell you why you should here in a second. Caleb is going to make a lot of splash. USC is going to be doing this thing. I'm telling people, this is Aaron Rodgers infused with some Kendrick Lamar. If you infuse some Kendrick Lamar into his veins, it's Aaron Rodgers, but on a college football level. All three of those guys, Noah Sewell, Caleb Williams, and Bryce Young, will all turn and clap for C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is going to win the Heisman this year, and it's going to be an awful lot of talk because he's got the biggest monster receiver. Again,
right.
Maybe even if you include a lot of NFL players in Smith and Jigba, and he's got Travion Henderson behind him. He's going to have a chance to win the Doak Walker Award.
Yeah.
So they're all going to pull from each other, but they're all going to also push through each other on their way to a national championship. C.J. Stroud, in my humble opinion, will win the national championship. But that would be cool if Noah Sewell and Sean Tucker were both sitting next to each other, looking at each other like, remember Darien and Whitfield were telling us that we would be sitting here. That's wild, ain't it? I hope that does happen for those guys. Okay. You ready to talk a little week one?
Let's do it.
So we got some heavyweight matchups, man. We got some heavyweight matchups right out of the gate. Let's start in Columbus. This one, we don't really get to see a whole lot. It's a shame because they're not even that far down the road from each other. You got the Ohio State Buckeyes versus Notre Dame, and Coach Freeman in his debut is going up against the 1927 Yankees on the road. And honestly, just as a competitor, and I'm sure you feel the same way, if we're going to get him, let's go into the Lions den and get the Lion. Don't wait for him to come around your yard. Go to him. Right. How realistic is it, Darien, for Notre Dame to come out of there with a win?
All right, so if you kept up Notre Dame through any part of the offseason, they just lost their probably best receiver in Avery Davis. He's a fifth or sixth year guy towards ACL once again. Sadly, they have not to say these guys can't do it. I mean, I'm a firm believer anybody can get the job done. They got a couple of receivers that don't have as many catches as y'all sitting here watching. Like they just don't have that experience, and they lose Kyron Williams at running back. So to me, defensively, I feel like Notre Dame's always going to be sound. I feel like that's one thing. That's a kind of a marquee part of their program. Like you see that they always put out NFL talent on the defensive side. To me, I don't know if they can produce enough points to overpower what Ohio State's going to put up. I just like Ohio State's going to score, and I feel they're going to do enough to stop you to not score as much as they're going to score. And so I can't see that. It will be a great program win for him coming into his coaching era. But at the same time, I don't see, just on paper right now, I don't see that one happening.
The killer part to this is they're going to have to settle for something that no ultimate competitor really wants. And that's like a what's that term? Not a true win, but it's like a what is that when you
like a moral victory?
A moral victory. Thank you. You don't want that. Yeah. But in cases like this, not to the team, but in his mind, maybe even amongst the staff, Coach Freeman's got to come into this with Ohio State and think, yeah, we want to go take this Lion down. But more importantly, we want to be competitive all 12 rounds.
Right.
We want to be trading blows all 12 rounds. We want to respond all 12 rounds. And you're right. Do they have the firepower to do this? They do not. Can you scheme around that? Sure, you can scheme around it. Your best player on offense is a tight end. Your best player in offense is a tight end, Michael Mayer. You got two young quarterbacks back there. Neither one of them have starting experience. If you could infuse the two of them together, you got a real dude. But right now, you got a young one who can really move around, and you got a little bit of an older one in Drew Pine, who can, he can actually hit a lot of shots and play with some timing. You got your hands full. But if I'm Notre Dame, give me these guys out of the gate.
Yeah, get them early.
Give me Ohio State out of the gate. No matter what the count's going to be, I'm not going to drop.
Yeah.
We just took on the 27 Yankees. I'm not going to drop. So we'll learn a ton. We're not going to see anybody else on the schedule anywhere near these guys. So we're going to learn a lot. And it only goes up from here. But you want to be competitive. You want to be competitive. Okay. Let's move now. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. I'm curious about your thoughts. This one's going to be down, I think, in Atlanta. Might even be at Georgia. Oregon Ducks and their head coach, Dan Lanning, returned to the University of Georgia, his former job as a defensive coordinator. Oregon's head coach is now, or was last year, the defensive coordinator for the greatest defense in college football, maybe in the last 20 years.
Right.
And Darren, I say that because this man developed every single player on that Georgia defense. The only ones he hasn't met are the incoming freshmen, and those kids he recruited. He knows every single offensive player on that team because he went up against them daily in practice for years.
Yeah.
He's a cheat code and a great coach. And he comes in with his own heavyweight defense. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Bo Nix is going to add to the mix. What do you think now with Oregon's realistic shot at going into Jurassic Park against the White Walkers? And for those of you who are new with us again, I just said, what's Oregon's realistic shot of going into the SEC against Georgia?
All right, so here's it's to me, it's going to be interesting. So you have, like you say, Dan Lanning going to Oregon. He knows what he's going to face. So he's like, and that may be the most demoralizing part of the whole thing is like, it's going to kill you. and you got to just go in there and take it anyway. Like, they're going to run the ball. They're going to line up an I formation, and they're going to run the ball down my throat. And so he knows that. So he's definitely scheming against that. And you look at what they did in the past. Like, obviously he wants to come and change those things, but they gave up 144 yards rushing last year. They were giving up 27 points a game.
That's
and so I don't think Georgia. I wouldn't say they're ever like a powerhouse offense, but they can do enough every time to get the job done. And you look at, especially, I think defensively, he may put them in a situation, once again, like we talked about the Notre Dame situation. I feel like defensively, they're going to be in a good enough situation to be schemed up to at least, like, if not stop it, like control it.
Mm-hmm.
But offensively, I mean, you lose Anthony Brown, who was their starting quarterback. The backups have a combined 18 attempts.
But you got Bo Nix coming in now with almost 7,000 yards.
You got Bo Nix. You also, Travis Dye leaves at running back.
Travis Dye. That's going to be a big loss.
But you got a couple guys who are injured in that running back room that could make a splash. And so you got Bo Nix. So you got some star power there. You got some receivers kind of. To me, this will be a great coming out party for Bo Nix, though. And so I know he's got to be excited. And he played against him at Auburn. Like, I feel like he has to be excited to come out. Georgia first game. All right, Bo Nix, if you really want to take Oregon to the next level,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who's got a better chance of pulling it off on the road? Notre Dame against Ohio State or Oregon against Georgia? I gave you $1,000. Go to Vegas. Where are you going to put it?
Oregon against Georgia. I just can't see Notre Dame. I just can't see them going to Ohio State and winning that game.
Yeah.
More so because like the point you just made, like, they lost Anthony Brown to Oregon, but Bo Nix is like a premier, has won big games, like has that swagger to him. I feel like going into those games, your quarterback has to be like locked in. Like,
so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this on behalf of our title sponsor, BetRivers, the one and only. If you're going to put some money down on some games this season, go with BetRivers. Big time money. And if you have a gambling problem, get help through the gambling phone number. I don't have the whole readout here, but we roll with BetRivers. Darien, I'm going to ask you this. What's the more likely bet? Notre Dame covers or Oregon upsets Georgia? I don't even know what the line is for Notre Dame, Ohio State. Can Notre Dame cover?
Well, yeah, give me the line.
I'm hopping in here. We'll find the lines. Hold on. I'm finding the lines.
Drum roll,
17.5. Oh, man. Notre Dame is 17.5 dogs against Ohio State. What's more likely? They stay within 17.5 of this juggernaut, or Oregon goes down there, hits a field goal to walk off a win?
They're both 17-point underdogs.
Yeah, but it ain't fair to say who's between cover and cover. Notre Dame has the bigger task.
I like Oregon winning the game. Maybe I'm tripping. I just think Ohio State can blow people out. They have
Ohio State. Yes,
Ohio State can run away with games, and that's especially if you have no way to match them offensively. Like, Notre Dame's best chance is like getting an I formation. Hopefully, they got some backs back there, some play action,
taking the clock with them,
taking the clock, being able to get some chunks, moving the ball. They always have a big O line. They got like you said, get some runs going, play action, get the tight end involved, take a shot. Once you get some established runs in there, and then you just hope for the best. But trading blows is not what's going to get the job done.
No, and honestly, I'm gonna say this: Notre Dame is Ohio State's gonna put up 50 at the half 4 times this year, not in the opener. They ain't gonna get 50 against Notre Dame in the opener. But they're going to put up 50 by half 4 times this season. This thing, it's honestly, it's like T-Rex at a dog park. It don't matter what kind of Rottweilers is out here. You got a pit. That's cool. And then it's just going to come and just crush the gates of these guys are not to be messed with. Okay, so we got those 2 down. Irish headed to Ohio State. Can they cover within 18 points? Oregon with their former lieutenant of the White Walkers returning back. We're going to see that. Okay, interesting now, bi-coastal matchup. The biker gang from Salt Lake City, commonly known as Utah, is going to the Swamp. You're familiar with the Swamp. How will that new regime and that monster quarterback defend themselves against this biker gang, Darien?
I like Anthony Richardson. I ain't gonna lie.
You're killer.
He's I mean, you got. I can't. Obviously, Cam left, but he's got that Cam-esque play to him. He's big body quarterback, can make the throws, can make some runs, and when he gets hits as a quarterback, he's a quarterback you don't even want to hit. You know what I'm saying? Like
correct.
He will embarrass you in open field.
You got to make a business decision,
right? And so
he can hop humans, but does he have enough help? And is their system congruent enough? And do they have a firepower to hold off 70 plus bikers rolling up in there? Do they have enough? I
don't know, but this would be a great win. He actually came from Clemson along with for Coach Napier in the program. Mm-hmm. This would be a big win for them coming out. Obviously, a big ranked opponent in Utah. So this would be as many glimpses as Anthony Richardson showed last year. He has to put together some full games, and like actually, this would be his first full season, kind of getting the rock out, even though he showed so much promise last year. So this, to me, same way. I mean, this is a test for them. Like, all right, well, let's see what we're about. They're coming off a 6-7 season, 2-6 in SEC. This would be a great confidence booster. We got a ranked win because the next week they go play Kentucky. What would be terrible is to take an L and go to Kentucky. They play Kentucky at home. So you got Utah, Kentucky. Those are their first two games. And so
is Florida even ranked? The Gators are currently ranked 30th. They're ranked 30th. So now watch me now. And let's just start from the Gators' perspective, because we have talked and will continue to talk a lot about the biker gang. If Coach Napier and Anthony Richardson and company are able to not just fend off this biker gang, but beat them, they're going to go from unranked to like
12, that'll be top 20. Yeah,
12,
top
15. They're going to hop. Yeah. Yep, top 15. For all that clutter down there at the bottom that people just threw names in just to fill it out, they're going to hop. And it's going to be a huge win for the conference. All of Jurassic Park is going to celebrate that deal. You sent the best team from west of the Rockies in here against our 8th, 9th, 10th program, and they fell. Right. That's going to be a huge deal. Now, is that realistic? Does Florida – now we're not talking about firepower. We're talking about metal. Do they have the metal on both sides of the ball up front to stand in the middle of the ring and just trade blows? There will be no dancing. This ain't going to be a Mayweather type of deal. Hold me back. Man, hold on. It ain't going to be that. They're going to get you into it. They're going to try and it's just going to be a bull rush. You stay on your feet or go to the ground. Either way, it's going to be a battle. Do they have enough, in your opinion?
I don't know. I think this would be a true test for the new culture. This is a culture win. You look at Utah and what they've done is I feel they're very disciplined, and because like I ain't gonna say they came out of nowhere, but nobody really knows Utah. And Utah, I feel they kind of wear that too. Like, yeah, we're Utah, nobody knows it, but like we win games, we're disciplined, we play hard, we play tough, and they're very well coached. The coach has been there 17 years for a very long time. And so you go to Florida where they're trying to reestablish this culture of like the Swamp, like the legendariness of it. And so to me, if you would love to see them get this win, because it'll like I said, it'll be a culture win for them, because they're installing like any coach that they're installing a lot of things, a lot of new belief systems, a lot of things kind of ridden themselves of the old. If they can buy into that and get a big win like this, I mean, they'll be kind of one of those people you don't want to really see, to me, because Florida has the talent. Talent's never been a question.
Talent ain't gonna be a question, and I agree with you from this standpoint. If that biker gang was coming to town, let them come week 1.
Yeah.
not week 8.
Right.
Not when they done ravaged 6, 7, 8 cities already. Yeah. Catch them out of the gate. Right. Their first stop, catch them out of the gate. Make them question themselves. Okay, so we got that, the biker gang. Let's go now. Other part of Jurassic Park into the SEC. A playoff team is going down to Fayetteville. Cincinnati at Arkansas. Now, Cincinnati's marquee players are all over the NFL. Sauce Gardner's a Jet. Ritter is now a Falcon. All the rest of these
Jerome Ford's with the Browns. Yeah,
they're all trading jerseys. Killer part is Cincinnati still has enough to throw fear to those in Jurassic Park. Some of them. Here comes a Cincinnati team now feeling itself. Now think about it now, and just as a player, just seemingly weeks ago, you know what their winter conditioning was like coming out of the playoff run.
Yeah.
We lost a hard-fought battle to Bama.
Right.
And then you go into spring, you have a certain swagger all through the building. This is who we are. You know they got posters and pictures and plaques and memorabilia and mementos of everything they just did. Now you take the field or you take the plane ride out to Arkansas as a playoff team from last year. We're different now. We're those dudes. Will that carry you through a battle like this on the road in week 1?
How much of a battle is it going to Arkansas, though? That's the question I want to ask you.
Okay, I'll roll it right back to you. Arkansas welcomed the newest member of Jurassic Park. Texas and Oklahoma will be in there in a year or 2. They beat the hell out of Texas last year. Yeah. They beat that 40+ points. It was over before Texas even boarded the plane. Really, it was over when it got scheduled. As soon as whoever made the decision, who you want to play, Arkansas, soon as they put their John Hancock on the paper, it was over at that point. Everything else was just merely a matter of details. Arkansas beat the hell out of them. KJ Jefferson,
he's good.
Nice dark horse quarterback in here.
He's good.
He's gonna make a lot of waves. But again, you're Arkansas. What they have, like a hell of a season last year. So now,
similar too, because Arkansas, previously has struggled, and they finally got. They went 9-4 last year, 4-4 in the conference, but they won 5 of their last 6. And so as a team and as a coach, you're like, we have a lot of momentum going to the offseason. Different, but as far as expectation wise, Arkansas wasn't expected. They weren't expected to be in the playoff run. So to them, they had the same morale and momentum going to the offseason. Like, hey, we were successful. We have wins we can build off of. Cincinnati, they've kind of been in the mix the past couple of years, and their expectation was to finally make that leap. And so to me, that's going to be a good matchup. I think going to Arkansas, once again, we would talk about this whole show. A lot of teams, these first couple of weeks have a really big opportunity to establish the culture they're trying to create. Cincinnati wants to be a powerhouse, and it's one thing to think you can. It's one thing to know you can. I think that's the difference in them this year. They thought they could make that leap. Now they know, hey, we could be one of those teams in that top 4 year in and year out. But it's going to take a little more. Arkansas, hey, we went 9-4 last year after getting waxed the previous years before. We're in the mix. Mm-hmm. Let's make that leap. And so I bet both coaches are kind of looking at the chops like, all right, if you want to be a powerhouse team, if you want to be a consistent winner at this level, you gotta kill everybody. You have to, you have to beat everybody. Anywhere, any place, it doesn't matter. You play on the road, play away. You can play in Ireland, wherever it is. You got to go win. Arkansas is like, all right, if you want to beat somebody in your own conference, but you got to go beat the top dogs. Go beat Cincinnati. And so to me, it's gonna be a great game. I feel like both coaches have things to pull at, and not like, how do I say this? It's not imaginary things they're pulling from, because some coaches do that.
Correct.
Like they both have really hard evidence to pull from last season and come up the offseason to where both teams have a case to do what they need to do to get that win.
And I'm going to follow up on your last point. Both coaches are going to point to this opponent and say, if we are who we think we are, we got to beat these guys. Right. You don't really have that a ton. Alabama don't say it about Texas.
Yeah.
This is a stop on the road. Take care of business. Pack it up. We got more business after that. It's going to be very business-like.
Yep.
But for Arkansas looking at Cincinnati and Cincinnati looking back at the Hogs, they're both going to have to say that. Man, what a run. Again, Darien, we're here. Week 1 is upon us. Week 0, we were just here. New expectant father right there. And rookie of the year, Darien Rencher rolling with me. 2-man team.
Come on, man.
Dallas,
tag team.
Dallas, Texas is under siege, both in floods and with the Wi-Fi. We'll see Bryce Petty back. On behalf of Bryce Petty, Trevor Knight, Clint Sterner, our producer, Dagan Hughes. Sorry. This is George Whitfield, Field of 12. We'll see you next week.